There we go. What is up, everybody on YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you may be viewing this live stream, either live or once it goes from a live to a video? I know it's already been crazy, about a month roughly since we've done a live stream. And if you're tuning in for the first time, just wondering why you should even consider tuning into our live streams or any of my thousand plus videos for that matter. My name is Griffin Thomas. Of course, I own the company Preferred Pest Management in the Dallas, Texas area. We've been in business over 5 years now. It's crazy that we've already been in business over half a decade, to be honest. But yeah, we've been in business over 5 years now. This whole journey kind of started off where I posted a video a few years ago how I took this business from 0 to 6 figures in my first year. It was a very poor video in all honesty, but a lot of you guys resonated with that video, so we've just been doing it ever since. And these Q&As are exactly as the title says. It's Q&A format specifically. If you have any questions, be it after the stream, you can post it in the comments. Of course, any comments on other videos, things of that nature, we tend to get into as well. And then, of course, we tend to have a couple things that I have learned all throughout my 5+ years of owning Preferred Pest Management that has worked for us, that hasn't worked for us, and we just kind of talk about that in between as we have some people start tuning in over the next usually about 5 minutes roughly is what it takes for people to start tuning in. I see already we have about 5 to 10 of us roughly, it looks like. We'll go ahead and shout out if anyone's in the comments yet. Don't see anybody in the comments. And before we get started as well, I've had a lot of people, speaking of the live streams, asking about specifically how to get notified all the time, because of course YouTube specifically is bad about sending you guys the notifications. You can join our email list, which I don't, if any of you who are subscribed to that already, you can attest to this. I'm not spamming you with a bunch of BS ads or anything like that whatsoever. I barely have enough time to even keep up with it as it is. It's there specifically for those of you that want to be notified, be it when a video goes up, not short, because those would be every day, but anytime a long form video goes up or we schedule a YouTube stream like this, for example, I shot an email that is over to the email subscribers about 30 minutes or so before the stream. And ideally, I'll send those out a lot earlier. Today, I just had time for a quick one for you guys, and I knew it had been about a month or so already, so we wanted to go ahead and just get it in, right? Let's see what we got here so far. So we got Thomas in the chat. I've been in business 3 months. You've helped me so much. Been following for just over a year. Just want to thank you for doing all this. Might have a question later. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll be here for at least half an hour, maybe even an hour. Just depends. I know I've scheduled at least till about 6 p.m. at the earliest for us to go off here. But yeah. No, I always appreciate y'all tuning in. It's always awesome to hear that the content is helping anybody. Because not gonna lie, sometimes when I'm super busy, super stressed out, I'm like, man, I always put YouTube videos on my to-do list, so to speak. And sometimes I'm like, man, does this shit even matter? We're getting 50 views, 100 views, occasionally, a couple thousand views, but it's always nice to actually hear from like real people, from you all personally, that things are going good. Speaking of which, for any of you that have reached out to the phone number, I was having issues getting logged back into that because it had been a few weeks since I got into it, and apparently Google Voice doesn't like inactivity. But I did get my access back to that. So if there's any, I know I got a couple voicemails and text messages from some of you guys, and I will be getting on that hopefully this week is the plan, especially with all the time off we got due to the ice storm down here, or lack thereof. Let's see. We got Freddie in the chat. Said, welcome back. How's business going? Yeah. We'll be getting into that as well. And I'm interested to know down in the chat, down in the comments, whatever you want to refer to it as. How did your all's 2025 go? For those of you that have been in business, you, of course, if you haven't started your business yet, you don't have an answer for that. But for those of you that were in business for any period of time last year, let us know in the chat, full year 2025, couple months of 2025, whatever the case may be. Let us know, how the year was for you, whatever you're comfortable sharing. But yeah, for us overall, like, we cannot complain at all. We came up just a hair short of what I consider like my main goal, not my quote unquote reachable goal, like my stretch goals, what I like to refer to it as. And we came up like just short. Like if we probably didn't have such a bad June, I believe was the worst month of the year, we probably crush through our quote unquote stretch goal. But yeah, overall, it was not a bad year whatsoever. We're looking at, of course, those of you that caught my little hint, I kind of gave it away. Someone noticed in the comments of that video about door knocking earlier today, where I kind of gave it away that we're planning on hiring our own in-house door-to-door reps this spring. Is the plan? We're planning on expanding into an actual like warehouse space and everything. So yeah, we're going 1,000 miles an hour. We've like outgrown our office. We had a storage unit for a little bit, and then we outgrew that very quickly. So um, take care of that real quick. Yeah, my tech was my number 2 is letting me know, like, yeah, we've completely outgrown this. So, yeah, needless to say, it was a very good 2025. Of course, it can always be better, and that's what, I'm here for, as a matter of fact, is just letting you guys know kind of what we're doing already in 2026, gearing up for the spring, because that's what a lot of people kind of sleep on, is that you want to do all of your work obviously in the off season. A lot of people take the quote unquote off season, which I kind of laugh about. Down here. We don't really have an off season. We have pest season, then we have rodent season. Like we don't really have an off season, but don't get me wrong. In the winter, it does slow down a little bit, like enough to where we can actually take a breath, put in some work on the SEO side of things, put some work in on email marketing, just setting the foundation to continue to expand year after year after year on these digital assets that we like to refer to them as. And one thing that we've been focusing on quite a bit since the beginning of the year is getting back into the swing of things with Google Ads. We've had a little bit of success with Google Ads last year or so, roughly. We really want to crank that out more in 26 is the plan. We got a lot of ads up so far, a lot of different variations and different landing pages and things like that, from rodent wildlife to insulation. The only thing we haven't gotten up yet, which I kind of regret now that I'm thinking about it in terms of how we should have done it, we didn't get our lawn care ads up, but it's not the end of the world there. We got our email marketing primarily for that, and then door to door as well, which again, I'll be talking about a lot more um, over the next coming weeks and months, of course, just how everything's going. But yeah, cranking that out, and then also circling back around to Meta ads, old Facebook ads, Facebook, Instagram, all that. You guys know I've not been a fan. I put it not quite on the level of Yelp, obviously, because Yelp, Angie, all that, it's like totally, it's apples to oranges comparison, of course. But in terms of just overall quality, you guys know I haven't really been the biggest fan necessarily of Meta ads, but we actually just today, as a matter of fact, launched a video ad. I don't know if that's actually up yet. It showed that it was going to take a couple hours because we really dove in. We built what's called a lookalike audience, which in short, and I'll have a tutorial about this for you guys because it's pretty in depth. It's not like really hard, but it takes about half an hour to kind of get it, if that makes sense. It's one of those concepts that takes a minute to learn, but once you get it, you're like, oh my God, I wish I knew about this the whole time. In short, once you get like at least 1,000 contacts in your CRM, which again is why if you don't have some type of marketing tracking in place, where as soon as somebody submits a form, as soon as somebody calls you, as soon as you get any contact information, as long as it's a phone number, an email, preferably both, but at least one or the other, putting them into your CRM automatically, not depending on your own will, because you're going to get busy, you're going to get lazy, you're going to get tired and forget certain ones. But my whole point is once you get over 1,000, ideally a couple thousand contacts in your CRM, you can then export these and use them obviously for email marketing and things of that nature. But also inside of Meta Ads, you can create what's called a lookalike audience. And of course, Gorilla Desk actually makes this pretty easy with their smart views setup, which I don't recall if you have to have the growth plan or just the pro plan for that off the top of my head. That'd be a question for Chris. As a matter of fact, I'm on the growth plan, but you can go in there, of course, and make all these different little audience segments and things like that. But either way, like what I did with my very first lookalike audience, because we only had like maybe 1,000 to 1,200 contacts at this time last year, whenever like I first started diving deep into it, is I took all the contacts that had converted to a job, not ones that never converted, but took ones that we at least did one job that made money, not inspections, not nothing, obviously, like ones that we at the minimum did like a one-time service for. And then I uploaded all that into Meta. And then from there, Meta takes all that information because how the internet works. Obviously, they know everything about you, right? They take all that information and find your ideal person to put your ads in front of. So then from there, as long as you have good ad copy, all the other things that go into ads, then ideally, we'll see with time, those ads will start performing for you, of course. So that is kind of our big switch, so to speak, in terms of a curveball, is to focus more on the meta ad side of things this year, and specifically, not just give it a try, but like really hit it hard. Like all the ads that I've done on meta in the past were all like kind of graphic based, pretty generic. Where this one today, I literally spent like 3 hours scripting, filming, editing, all that for like a little 1 minute clip, trying to edit it, make it memorable to where, again, even if it is just brand awareness at the minimum, it will still be in the back of people's minds long term. So, um, let's see. I don't know. We got random people. Always random people in the live chat of I think the mobile feed. Um, but yeah, speaking of which, let me see. I think we got a couple comments in here as well. Do pull all these guys up. So we got Angel Mendez in the chat. Hope all's well. Hope all's well for you. Let's see. Been in business almost a year already. Thanks to your information. No, no, you did that. I always say everybody, like I appreciate everybody being like, tell me that the content has helped them in some shape or form. Um, but man, at the end of the day, like you did that. Like either way, you would figure it out. I promise you. Like there's so many people out here nowadays. I call what we're in right now like the information era, where it's like, one, why do people go to college anymore? I mean, that's a whole different subject for a different day. Like, obviously, doctors and stuff, you got to, but most people, it's like, what are you doing? Like, everything's online for free anymore. But in today's world, like there's people that consume the information and do nothing. That's what like 80, 90% of people do. And then there's people that consume information and actually go act and win with it. And when you guys are out here winning, like that's you. You are that five. And then the other, whatever percentages, people just watching a bunch of AI slop videos and just wasting their lives away, right? But no, I mean, you all are that 1 to 5% that are not just consuming but acting. So always give yourself pats on the back as well. Let's see what we got here. This is going Yaziz. If I'm pronouncing that right. What's an underrated way to get more customers? Underrated. Hmm. I mean, I'm gonna do from my own personal experience, kinda like I do everything. For some of y'all, it may be like, "What do you mean? That's not underrated at all, like, that's always worked, blah, blah, blah." But believe it or not, networking. And the reason why this was underrated for me was because, like, I never really thought networking, my very first experience with networking was actually network marketing for Amway. Anyone knows anything about Amway, you already know where I'm going with that, but, it just wasn't very good, right? So with that, I never thought like I was like, networking. I always just kind of put them in the same basket, like, oh, it's just people, just fishy people, right? But no, like my first networking group that we like officially not just joined, but have actively been to virtually every week, with the exception of a couple weeks over the last year, has gained us what? Not a crazy amount or anything, but like half a dozen or more, like ongoing recurring customers, ones that hit us up for like one-off jobs, and then obviously constant referrals from them as well. On top of that, I was just talking about like the ones actually in the group that have used us for service as well. But I would say that's pretty underrated. Again, if you're someone like me who just kind of doesn't really steer towards that, like I'm of course a lot into the internet marketing side of things. You guys know that of course I built my business without knocking on a single door so far in our journey. Pretty much all of our growth outside of a handful of customers has been all through online acquisition. So for me, that wasn't underrated. Up there with that, which again, this one's not really underrated. I just thought it was kind of a pastime, but it still works like crazy. Email marketing. You can't overdo it. I'll have probably. I've been actually thinking about doing this for you guys for a while now that we have griffinbthomas.com back up for the newsletter and all that for you guys. Doing like a quick little email marketing, not course, but like just a email series that goes out to you guys every day for like 3 to 5 days, something like that, with a quick little blog from me that just literally gives you guys away how we do our email marketing. Because of course you don't want to just make every email ad, right? I always think about the book from Gary Vaynerchuk. I think it was like Bang Bang, or was it? It's an older book. I forget. Jab Jab Right. I said Bang Bang. Jab Jab Right Hook, I believe, is what it's called. Where essentially like you're giving away, giving away, giving away, giving away, and then boom, you submit the offer. You built up enough credibility with the customer or lead, I guess, that they now want to do business with you. And even if they don't, say, they think about it months from now. In the case of pest control, somebody may be like, dude, I'm renting right now. Like, I don't even have a house. I don't care. My landlord covers it. And then a year or two down the road, they're like, wait, what was that company? Let me go back through my email. Boom. They find your email from like 2 years ago. You never know at the end of the day. But those two I would say are pretty underrated. Are they things that are necessarily gonna just skyrocket your business? No. But in terms of like underrated things that are kind of underappreciated that can still add up year after year, 100%. Um, Networking, joining networking groups, and then email marketing, SMS too. Obviously, those are kind of. Let's see. Freddie says, finished my first year with 145,000. Second year started off good, but the snow, yeah, we got 16 inches, man. It's crazy. Even outside my window right now, I'm still looking at about, which I know a lot of y'all are gonna laugh, but it's Texas. Come on. I'm looking at on my neighbor's roof right now about 2 inches of sleet and ice that's still on their roof. And actually, the neighbor's house I'm looking at, I saw somebody posted in our neighborhood group where their vehicle, because of the ice or whatever, their vehicle ended up sliding down their driveway out into the street. So yeah, we got in on some of that too. Most of it was ice and sleet, a little bit of snow, enough to where kids could have fun. But yeah, the phones have been pretty dry the last 24 hours, I would say. We did have some things coming over the weekend, but um, nothing crazy. But yeah, first year, 145,000. I mean, yeah, that's a hell of a first year. You should be making videos talking about going 0 to 6 figures in your first year. Speaking of which, I think Freddie, we're supposed to be trying to. Speaking of the Google Voice thing earlier, we're supposed to be trying to link up for a podcast episode, if I recall. Let's see. Oh, we got Bug Out in the house. 2025 was a good year for us. We grew about 70%. Year two completed, we did about 140. Hey, 70%. That's big. And even the 140, I mean, that's huge, huge, huge growth. I mean, you cannot complain. I think if I remember, you were talking about door knocking as well, as a matter of fact. Let me see. You said another thing. Very small town. Probably going to cap out here and expect. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Because you were talking about door knocking and expanding to other towns nearby, which is kind of what we did. I mean, of course, I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, so when I say like that's what we did, like when I'm talking about what we did where I lived in Rowlett, Texas, just outside of Dallas, is like obviously its own town, a suburb, but it only has about 70,000 people in that suburb. So once we kind of, I'm not going to say tapped it out, we got a lot of room that we can still grow there. But once we kind of established our dominance there, then that's when I got my office in Plano, Texas, which was about 20, 30 minutes across DFW. And over the last, what, 3 years or so now, we've been establishing a stronghold on that location as well. It's taking a lot longer because it's a lot more competitive, much bigger area. But we're starting to get a lot in Allen, Texas, which is just north, Plano, Richardson, a couple other surrounding towns, and of course our website SEO is helping with that too. But yes, that is definitely something you want to do. One point, little tip I'll give you with that is with your website. I'm sure you may have already done this. If not, I would get on it ASAP. Get your location pages built on that website as soon as possible, and not just the location pages, but but some service silo pages as well underneath of those. And we talked about how to do that. Ooh, I don't remember if I talked about how to do that recently. I know I did like a year or two ago. Speaking of which, no, we're going on a few different tangents here today, but um, what we are actually going to be doing, it's going to take me a while to compile this because I don't pay anybody to do my video editing or anything like that. But what we are actually going to be doing is compiling a bunch of my videos from last year, videos, live streams, all that good stuff, and just come out with like a big YouTube video for pretty much anybody. Because I know, of course, there's no way that, I mean, maybe a few of you have, but I doubt that most of you like seen all of our content. So we're gonna put all like the best clips from all those videos put together into like one giant video. And who knows, it may be a stupid idea, it might just totally flop. I don't know, but I've seen a couple of people doing it, especially in like the business space. And even I like I'll listen to them whenever I'm working out and stuff like that. Like it's like one long podcast almost. So it's kind of cool idea that I'm gonna run with for you guys. It's just kind of take some time. You're gonna have to bear with me. That's a whole project. But yes, sir. Yeah, that's awesome. Up to 104. So we've got two of you that are in the six-figure range. That is awesome. Um, let's see. Thomas said, "What accounting software do you use?" So I have a CPA, of course, which I highly suggest as soon as you are actually serious about your business. Like me, I think my very first year I filed on my own, and then I knew after that I was like, I need. And that was just because I pretty much kind of missed the ball on it. Like it was like mid March whenever I realized, shit, I haven't done taxes, haven't got an accountant. I was out of luck essentially. So I had to kind of just figure it out on my own. Probably cost me some money looking back on it. But of course, I have a very good CPA. And then as for the basic stuff like the bookkeeping and all that, I still use QuickBooks. Was it QuickBooks Online specifically? It's just super easy. It links up like with all my banks, and I think I have one or two bank accounts that we keep like extra funds in for longer term investments in the business and stuff like that, uh, larger capex, whatever, and accounts. And those two, for whatever, I think just because they're smaller banks, do not auto sync with QuickBooks, which at first I thought was going to be a huge problem. Come to find out, pretty much every bank that doesn't link up with QuickBooks has a download format where you can literally, with a blink of an eye, just download all of your transactions for X amount of time, batch upload into QuickBooks super fast. You guys know me with AI. I set up a little automation to pretty much kind of do that on my own, where all I got to do is just approve it before it does it automatically. Like, just make sure it got the dates right. I'm just kind of micromanaging from that standpoint because I don't trust AI that much. But um, yeah, other than that, I mean, of course, QuickBooks isn't cheap. I was this close to switching to Zoho. I think I even made a video about that a while back, just talking about expenses and tracking, taking a look every 6 months or so at all your expenses, see where you can trim off some of the fat on your expenditures. But when it came down to it, it was not going to be worth it. I ended up finding out that we were actually paying for some options we didn't need in QuickBooks, which actually trimmed off not much, like 30, $40 a month. But it pretty much made it where it was only gonna be like a $2 to $5 a month difference versus Zoho, plus all the changes and migration and all that. So we ended up staying with QuickBooks for now. But Zoho definitely looks like a good option. I would definitely look into both of them, especially if you're looking to grow and have to. Oh, if I remember right, with Zoho, you might have to use something like Gusto for your payroll, which, if I remember right, was just another thing I didn't like, was that I was going to have two different softwares where, again, QuickBooks all in one for a couple more dollars a month. What's your time worth at the end of the day? So, let's see. Got any other questions so far? Don't believe so. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. By the way, that's another question I get a lot is, how can we help out the channel? How can we help you out? Because of course I don't like charge you guys for really anything outside of if people want like my personal time for like coaching or whatever the case may be. Always happy to do it, obviously, but obviously my time's not cheap. But the only thing that I can ever ask from you guys is if you get anything out of a stream, a video, anything like that whatsoever, just hit that thumbs up button. If you see a video, whatever the case may be, comment, share it with somebody, just any type of engagement. It helps YouTube know that, hey, this person likes it. They're more likely to, of course, show you my content as well as show it to other people. So that's my only quote unquote ask. And I try to do the same thing for other creators because I know YouTube has a strangle on that algorithm for people. But let me see. I guess while we have some questions getting ready, I'm assuming to roll in, what we'll do is we will transition over to our Google Ads. Possibly. Let me see if I can get this set up for you guys really quick. Matter of fact, because I am getting a little thirsty at the moment, what we will do is we will have our first little break, which will give you guys time. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that whatsoever, feel free to throw them out in the chat. I'm going to get a quick drink just really quickly, see if there's a way that I can load up my Google Ads on here without exposing a bunch of information. And I will be, I believe, right back.
Anyone know what's on page 10 of search results? SEMrush can help you get found online. Try it too? Optimize your website, create content that ranks, and earn backlinks. Rank higher with SEMrush. what's on page 10 of search results? SEMrush can help you get found online. Try it too? Optimize your website, create content that ranks, and earn backlinks. Rank higher with SEMrush.
I always forget that it mutes my mic whenever we do the little commercial break thing. But yeah, we are back. I was trying out a couple things after getting a drink real quick to see how I can get this up for you guys. But I see we have a few comments in here since I went away. Um, let's see here. Battle Warrior says, "What would you say are the must-dos, non-negotiables of starting a company? Example, what the books need to look like, certain marketing tactics, number goals, and adding accounts, sales, etc." I guess. So let's see what the books need to look like. If you mean by like organization, of course, like we were talking about just a minute ago before the little commercial break thing. Using a good accountant first and foremost, doing your due diligence. I actually almost went with one other accountant, like literally backed out at the last second before going with the one that I've been using now for like 4 years, going on 5 now. And is definitely something you do not want to take lightly. You're definitely going to what feels like overpay. If it hurts a little bit to pay them, then chances are you probably got a good one. Obviously, that's not always the case. Still do your due diligence. Make sure that you're getting a good return on that investment, obviously. But have a good accountant. They will usually keep you in line regardless. Otherwise, you're going to get charged for it if you do not keep your stuff organized. But yeah, no, just kind of doing the basics in all honesty. Like a lot of this stuff, like it's not rocket science at the end of the day. Like it's like kind of I compared to like touching a stove or not even touching a stove, but like doing the wrong thing, just simply doing the wrong thing versus doing the right thing. Like you do the wrong thing once, like, ow, that hurts. I'm not going to do that again. And then if you do it again, it's like, dude, what are you doing? If you're going to make the same mistake more than once or twice, probably don't want to get in this game. But if you're somebody that like, you take like oh, ouch, that really hurt, and you turn that into a huge positive for you over and over and over again in your life, then chances are that's going to correlate with how you are in business as well. Which same thing for your marketing, which we'll talk about marketing a little bit more in here in a second. Goals. We talked about goals right at the beginning of the stream, talking about yearly goals and this and that. To me, you should always, 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 always start. Now, this is going to be counterintuitive to what you probably hear online. A lot of people talk about either one of these two. They'll say, oh, make sure set your goals low enough to where you can achieve them. That way you get that dopamine hit and you get that quick win and blah, 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 blah. And then you got this complete other extreme that's like, no, fuck that. You need to go all the way as far as you can, work 27 hours out of 24, like just, right. You guys know what I'm talking about, how it is on YouTube. Either you got therapy culture or hustle culture, one or the other, right? How I like to think about it is you guys hear me talk about all the time. I have literally what I call my realistic goal. Like if we do not hit this goal, and it's still a stretch, like we're still stretching, but it is very realistic based on just all of the data that I look at. If we do not hit this goal, I'm going to be livid, and something is going to change very drastically, like very, very drastically. We have that not just for yearly goals, but quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. Because at the end of the day, if you win day after day after day after day, you won the week. You win week after week after week, boom, you won the month. You do that for 3 months, boom, you won the quarter. Next thing you know, you won the year. Now, does that mean you're going to win every single day? No. But if you win 5 out of 7, 6 out of 7, even 4 out of a 7 occasionally, ideally we want 5 or more, obviously, but you're winning more days than you're not, and you're net positive, you're going to keep growing regardless of what it is, business, relationships, whatever the case may be. But have those goals broken down like that and then also say, okay, like we are going to hit this freaking goal by any means necessary, right? Now, what is my actual goal? My goal that if I take every limiting belief out of my head, don't think about how I'm going to do it, but what I actually want. That's your stretch goal. So that's how I always go about doing it. If you guys want, I can like do, I'll have to script it out because like there's so much that actually goes into it. But well, there is and there's not. It's hard to kind of explain when you start getting into the stretch goal side of things. But if you guys want me to do like a whole video on that, I'm definitely willing to. It's taken me years and it's still a work in progress to just constantly get those beliefs out of my own head. But um that applies literally to all of this, specifically marketing, your numbers goals, adding your accounts, total sales, all, like it is all. What are we aiming for every day? What are we aiming for on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly? And I would even go as far as I'm thinking decades ahead. That's why, like, I always joke. You guys can. I don't know if he's in the chat watching this right now, but you all can ask my number too. Like, how many times I get emails and I just laugh about it where, get these emails about, "Oh, we wanna acquire a company." And I'm like, "Dude, maybe in 2 decades." I'm like, "Do y'all not realize I'm not even 30 yet?" I mean, I'm knocking on the door of 30, but, like, I'm so early in the game. Like, I'm thinking 10, 20 years from now. I'm not thinking about exiting in a year. Like, y'all might as well go bug somebody else, no pun intended. Um, but if you're looking for actual marketing tactics, definitely rewind back. We were talking about how we're really expanding in Google ads, even meta ads, door to door. Like these are three pillars that we are heavily investing resources from time, sweat equity to dollars, obviously, into this year. And of course, all that translates into the rest of your question there. Let's see. You said also, I have my branch, um, general pass, WDO operators exam. Oh, exam. Okay. Scheduled the 13th. Your channel has been a major helping hand. So, oh man, no, that's awesome. Yeah, good luck. 13th. That's coming up. What about 3 weeks? 2, 3 weeks? Man, that's coming up. Good luck. Good luck. And appreciate the kind words. Let's see. Brady says, I had a call with Pest Control Millionaires. Let's see. I really liked their content online, but really didn't really see their program be a good fit for me and my business. Um, I know I have not. You guys know that for the most part, I tend to kind of do my own thing, so to speak. I know, of course, I was on Jonah's podcast, less than a year ago, 6 months or so, 6 to 8 months ago, roughly, I believe, last spring, we'll just say. And I know he's a really good dude and everything. I know absolutely nothing about any of that, just being completely honest. Like, I haven't gotten anything from them. I'm not affiliated with that whatsoever. I've heard mostly good things. Like you said, you like their content online is great. The book is great. Everything that they put out is great. But sometimes too, it's not even necessarily that it's not a good fit for you. It may just not be the right. It might not be a good time either. Like there's stuff that I get hit over the head with every single week where I'm like, man, if we were here, this would probably be an awesome move for us. And it's just not a right time more than anything. But that's good to hear, or not good to hear necessarily, but I am interested to hear, I guess, like your point on like if it wasn't good for you, was it kind of what I was saying, where it's more so that it's just not a right time? Because like we said, their content's really good and stuff. And obviously, I don't know Jonas like a like a best friend or a brother or anything like that. The little bit that we've talked once or twice, he's been cool and everything. So, let's see. What do you personally think of their platform and mentorship? Reach out to owners. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I pretty much answered that, but um, that is interesting. And like I said, I don't know. I do not know anything about it. I'm not gonna like speak on something now. If I had thrown a bunch of money at it, and even if they had said, "Hey, we want you to try this for free," and let your YouTube audience know about it, which they didn't, obviously, where I'd be talking about it, I would still give an honest opinion of it. But I literally have no opinion. I haven't even looked into it. I've seen that they're advertising the heck out of it, but I have not even dab my toes in it. I initially thought they help with running social media ads. Interesting. Yeah, I could see that in content creation because Jonas is really big on content creation too. Let's see. Do you run a referral program? I'm actually glad you brought that up. If so, what are they? That's something I didn't even really get into because we're still in that process. I'm really going to push referrals this year. Yeah, local area. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually knees deep in that process right now. I got all these different projects going on in the business this off season. Um, yes, that is something we're working on. I've actually created a landing page that won't be indexed by Google or anything like that. We actually got an email marketing campaign going out to our largest, something like 5-10% customers in terms of like revenue that we made last year, just as a kind of a little test drive first and foremost with it, because of course, if anyone, if you know anything about like email marketing specifically, you only get X amount of emails per month, and then you got to start upping your tiers and this and that. So I always like to do little test drives, and then if depending on the analytics of that, then I'll kind of say, "Hey, let's send the house on this." But um, yes, we are in the process of doing that. The form builder we use too, formidable forms on our website. They actually have where you can make like a referral form, if that makes sense, to make it a little bit easier to track referrals. So those two working in tandem, I think is going to be great. But that's so funny you brought that up because like we've been kind of toying around with how do we get more referrals. We did these custom printout cards that were like postcards essentially. That was like a $50 gift card that you can give out to your neighbors or your friends, your church friends, family, whatever the case may be. They get $50, you get $50 type of thing. And I think we might have one person maybe convert off of that, which in all honesty, when you look at print ads, that's good for how little that we passed out. But um, just always looking at different ways, of course. That was one way we did it. Another way we did it is sending out a mass SMS campaign last year as well, where we were giving out $50 Amazon gift cards instead. We did get a lot more people to bite on that. I gave out 2 gift cards last year, $50 Amazon gift cards for referrals. So we plan on doing that again this year. People definitely seem to like the gift card concept a little bit more than just credit towards a service. So if you're looking at offering some type of referral program, take that for what it's worth. I've been trying to get referral game up for years. The last year specifically, been hitting it a little bit harder. And I will say the moment we switched from like, you get a credit with us to, hey, you actually get some type of monetary value, even though potato, right? Either they're spending the 50 with us or they can spend it now at Amazon, Home Depot, wherever, or cash, whatever. Anyways, but people seem like their Amazon gift cards or Starbucks, whatever the case may be. So, like I said, that is a tip that I've learned over the last year in that regard. And it definitely, like I said, when we talk about those different things, going back to the beginning of the stream about like, underrated methods of getting customers, is something that's going to get you a route a year, like door to door or mass campaigns or anything? No, of course. But long term, you do that on top of everything else. It all compounds. Again, if you guys have not read the compound effect, highly, highly, highly suggest. How much does your CPA charge and what do you get for your money? What all does it include? Let me put it this way: I pay virtually nothing in taxes. That's how good my CPA is, even with the profit that we do. Um, I think my tax bill last year was $35, as a matter of fact. What all does he do? Huh, in all honesty, I can barely keep up half the time. All I know is I usually have to talk with them a couple times throughout the year, mostly through email. They have a portal that I can upload different documents and this and that, bank statements, all the stuff into. And then once a year, we have one big meeting and we go, usually just a couple clarifying questions. What was this? What was that? Boom, boom, boom. And then they send me anywhere between a $3 to $5,000 bill once a year, and then voila. And I'm sure that's going to go up over time as I get more employees and stuff like that too, of course. Um, but that they do not do bookkeeping. Bookkeeping would cost approximately another, I believe, roughly $2,000 to $3,000 a year. That's something that, for the time being, especially with AI and everything, um, I just handle myself. Usually twice a month, I go in there, boom, 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 knock it all out, and then it's good to go. Sometimes they have to go in there and reconcile my books, which they're not very happy about, but I get busy. I will say reconciling is the worst part of bookkeeping, 100%. It's good if you stay on top of it, but the moment you get like a month or two behind, it's just, well, it's a nightmare. Also, I've not heard the goals broken down like that before: daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly. Don't forget quarterly. But yeah, no, exact that's I cannot stress that enough. I could literally rant for about an hour straight on like how just everything really for me changed financially whenever I started thinking about in terms of winning the day. I mean, literally in term like winning the day, winning the week, winning the month, winning the quarter. Like it all started way back when I was dirt broke, had to move back in with my dad for a couple months. Like I was literally just thinking, okay, I'm flipping stuff on eBay. Go way back to when this YouTube channel was first created. You'll see I was flipping stuff on eBay, Amazon, just trying to figure out, okay, let's win today. Let's win today. Let's get $50. Let's get $20. Let's get I just knew that every day it would compound, 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 and I could get out of the mess that I had got myself in at 18 years old as quick as I got myself into it, essentially. It's all about what you're willing to do every single day. So you know, it's just one of those things that cannot stress enough. It's a huge mindset shift, and once you make it, it's usually something that is entirely for the better. Let's see. Totally down on podcast. That'd be dope. Yeah, yeah. I don't remember. I think I messaged you back on that Google Voice number that I have. Again, if you weren't in here at the beginning of the stream, Freddie, I'd like lost access to that for inactivity. It was a whole deal. I got it back though. So if you had messaged me back or anything like that, I will be checking those out this week. When you own a business, you want these three things on speed dial: good lawyer, good CPA, and a good doctor. Yes, sir. That is exactly right. Need to work on the good doctor part. That's one thing that I have not gonna say neglected. You guys know that I love going to I say I love going to the gym. There's plenty of days I hate going to the gym, but that I go to the gym. But man, I know that I'm not taking best care of my health. Let's see what we got here. Johnny White. Let's see. Says, hey, what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on the pain and ghost system for sales rep commissions? Pain and ghost. Look into that real quick so I can actually give a honest opinion. I feel like I've heard of that, but I Pain and ghost system for sales reps. System is designed to stop sales ghosting by uncovering deep rooted emotional. Oh, I think I've heard. Is this in a book? As a matter of fact, the initial operation. Thanks. If you guys are wondering why I'm so quiet, I'm on my second screen here, just reading like a little AI overview of this. Did you get my question? Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see. My bad. Dude. Pay and go. Okay, you had me confused here because I was like, I'm getting so much conflicting things in this AI overview. Even the AI was having trouble. Pay and go. Let's see. So pay and go system. I'm starting to get tired too, so my brain's like not functioning at 100%. I've been up. One of my challenges this week has been getting up at 4:45, which isn't much of a challenge, but when you don't go to bed till midnight, it is. Let's see. Pango system for sales reps. Oh, you're talking about like PO, like CRMs essentially. Um, like who to use? Is that what you're kind of asking? Let me see. Well, what are your thoughts on the pay and go system for sales reps? If you're asking what I think you're asking, and you can correct me in the comments there if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're talking about like what platform to use. If so, what we're actually going to be using is Dormamba. It's a new app that just launched, which is created by Chris, who created Gorilla Desk, and it integrates directly in Gorilla Desk. Matter of fact, it looks scary similar to Gorilla Desk. Like when you pull up the two, it's like you almost got to double check, make sure you're on the right app because of how similar um, they are. But that's what we'll be using for that, which depending on how it goes, I think it's going to go fine, especially with it being a free add-on on top of that. But let's see. No, instead of a traditional playout system, essentially instead of paying fat commission on the back end. Okay, yeah. So I actually, yeah, there's that too. That's actually funny you bring that up. Me and my number two were just talking about this because we really been cranking up our talks of hiring a door-to-door repper for even this season, training them up, doing it all in house. It's going to be like a full process, but um yeah, we've actually been diving in a lot to that. So we're kind of adopting. I had this printed out somewhere. Maybe not. I'll have to double check sometime. But we kind of got at least roughly what we're thinking in terms of the percentages, this, that, the other bonuses, blah, 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 blah. But what we're kind of leaning towards is one of two things, both of which you actually mentioned. One of which where like you get a set dollar amount up front, once the initial service is completed and the customer hasn't, ghosted us, canceled, whatever, you get your set amount up front, which would be obviously that next pay period or whatever, the commission payout period, and then the rest of it being at the end of the season. Like you said, the only issue with that is it can kind of strain your cash flow, but it's one of those things where does it though? Because the only way it strains your cash flow is if you're still paying them for people that ended up being bad customers and didn't stick, which that's kind of the whole purpose of that system. But then there's the flip side of it too, where, like you said, instead you kind of divvy it out month to month, or there's obviously a couple different ways you can go about doing that. Not 100% sure, not going to lie. My business gut, if I were to put percentages on it, I would say majority is still leaning towards that traditional way. At least 60, about two thirds, 65% roughly leaning towards sticking with the traditional model. But TBD. We'll say, like I said, we are pretty early on. Like I keep, yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, but I came to the decision as the owner finally, right around the new year that, this was something that we're definitely going to do. I just wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row with us buying a house this year and had a lot of just financial stuff, both business and personal going on that I wanted to make sure we had in a row before we started prematurely spending money that we didn't may not have had. Yeah, it's funny. Y'all are asking a bunch of questions like we are like in the nitty gritty of right now in our business. So that's funny. Let's see. I'm also in the process of finding a CRM, so this is good. I'll sign up with Field Routes. I can only speak to the thousands, maybe not quite thousands, hundreds, we'll say, hundreds of people that I've heard negative things from. Again, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, I've used them at a company that I worked at for about 2 months before, going over to Terminex before starting my own business. It was awful then. Now, to be fair, that was what, 8 years ago now. Crazy. I've already been in the industry like a decade, but 8 years ago now. So it can be totally different. I'm not saying that again. I try to be whenever I've never used it for my own business. I try to stay as impartial as I can. I'm totally upfront with you guys too that we have an affiliate link with Gorilla Desk. Not that I really make. I think I make less than $80 roughly per month, to date roughly, in terms of like I'm not getting rich or anything off of. Let's put it this way: I'm not getting really anything worth bragging about from that affiliate link. But I'm as super upfront about all that as possible. All that to say, I've been using Gorilla Desk for pretty much since my second month in business. The platform has done nothing but get better, and they have never raised the rates. Now they have made another tier in terms of the growth tier, which is light years ahead of the growth plan, or the growth plan, which is light years ahead of the pro plan, which is light years ahead of the free plan. But the pro plan, even at the $50 a month, obviously, I hear people complain about, oh, well, you have to pay per technician. I think it comes out on the pro plan to like extra 40 or $50 each technician that you add. Growth plan, it's way less than the 249 or whatever. Of course, I forget what it is. I think it's 50 or 75 per user. On the growth plan as well. After that, I might even be misspeaking, might even be less. But um, how I look at it is if I can afford, or let me spin it this way: if I can't afford a 50 to 75 or even $100, 150, we'll even say, dollar a month expense, am I ready to hire another employee? I mean, don't get me wrong. I get, we're always talking about where we can cut costs, this and that. But when it comes to important things like software, you're not going to see me cut corners. There's a reason why I spend the amount of money that we do on CallRail. We spend what, about $120 or more now with all the different tracking numbers we have and things like that. With CallRail, we got Gorilla Desk, obviously. QuickBooks, you guys heard. I could have switched, saved $10 or whatever, $5, $10 a month. I'm always looking, but there's certain things, processes, 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 regardless if it's chemical processes, back end processes, sales processes, anything that deals with the processes that's going to affect the team or the consumer. I don't want to pass over. I I don't want to mess up. We'll just say that. And does Gorillaz have its problems? For sure. Like there's things all the time that, well, not all the time, maybe once a month or two that I'll hit them up and ask, like, hey, can we get this added? Like this is kind of a basic feature. Um, and a lot of times like within the next day to week it's available. So again, in terms of like the overall team, I know Chris personally. Of course, he's been on the podcast once. We'll probably do another one sometime in 26, I'm sure. Um, he's such a down to earth dude for as big as Gorillas has gotten for him to still be like the face of the brand out with the public and just the willingness to not the pure determination I should say to not want to give in and sell to one of the big companies that have swallowed up Field Routes, Pest Pack, all these other ones that have potential to be good. I respect it as a fellow entrepreneur. Tanner says Gorilla Desk. Yeah. Yeah, no, me personally is Gorilla Desk over everything. Not gonna lie. Like them giving you all that referral discount code and me getting like a tiny little crumb off of that's just icing on the cake for me. Like I'm like, cool, that just goes towards my monthly subscription with them, so to speak, because um I intertwine all that money together. But let's see. Okay, amazing. Thanks. I'm in the process of starting the business. I have everything done except picking CRM and finalizing commissions for sales reps. Only problem I have with looks like you followed it up here. The traditional thing is what if you sign an account in August and then you pay commissions in October? You're risking on those August accounts. And that's one of the things that we've talked about too, as a matter of fact, because it's like, man, like what do you do for people that signed up August or even September for those that kind of hang around that, end of the really end of the year down here in Texas. Um, and then for us it'd be November is when that payout would be. So it's like a month later. But like you said, what if they stick around, you get your initial 1 month, maybe 2 at the most, and then they decide to just go to shit on you. And that's just where, like, I know you said that you're in the process of getting ready to start your business, so you don't really have this perspective or analytics to go off of. But like us, we have the data to kind of support or lack thereof the fact that if a customer is not going to try to cancel pretty much within 30 to 60 days, once they pay you once or twice, more time now, are there ones where shit happens, they lose a job, they move, like, something like that? Of course. But for the most part, our customers that have paid us a minimum of 1 to 2 months, far majority of them, let me put it this way, it's gonna be negligible in terms of the amount of money you're actually gonna get. So it's not something that I would lose sleep over. But it is something that went into our thought process on it too. It's just like we said, we have 5 years of data to look back at as well. And speaking of which, another reason you might want to consider Gorilla this, they have the AI built into the system, Kong, which can pull all sorts of different reports and stuff from the CRM versus you having to export all these PDFs and putting it into ChatGPT or figuring out yourself. I still like to build my own GPTs and stuff like that too. But Kong a lot of times can speed up a lot of answers as well in that regard in terms of just like time value and just random questions you might have. My voice type. Yeah, good old voice type. I know how that goes. Subscription billing versus paying service costs at time of service. Um, I will say Um, we stopped calling it subscription billing. We actually started doing contracts this past year, and like heavily enforcing them. Like I have a whole new contract in Gorilla Desk made up that is very specific on like, every 30 days that you're late on payment, $25 late fee. After 90 days, it's going into collections. Like we've been bitten too many times now. The subscription model itself, which you guys know, I kind of, I'm not gonna say pioneered, but was one of the ones to kind of beat that drum a few years ago. Um, it's still great. Like we love our customers to pay monthly. Nothing better than monthly cash flow, but people will try to take advantage. For example, matter of fact, right before I hopped on this stream, which is why I was like 2 to 5 minutes late, my number two, technician, uh, president or vice president, whatever you refer to him as, sent me a screenshot where a customer he sent her reminder that her bill is past due or whatever. Because we try to give people, like, we'll send out manual reminders because we don't want to charge late fees or anything like that. But it's in your contract. And she responded, just cancel the contract. Like, she acknowledges the contract. Just cancel the contract. I'll call you guys when I need you. And she's in like month 4 or 5. So to your point a second ago, like it does happen. Of course, it's not super common, but it does happen enough to think about it. Um, that's the case where chances are she's going to get a couple late fees, and then it's going to go into collections where it'll rack up collection fees. Um, and then from there, it's all on the collection agency, and they get hit on the credit. So it's like, and we are very upfront about all that. Like, it is all outlined in our agreement now. Like, I got mouths to feed now. This isn't just me. Like, I'm not a solo operator anymore. Like, the moment I hired employees, like, you gotta think that employee, he has a wife, he has kids. We don't get paid. They don't get paid. They don't get paid. Their kids don't eat. Like, that's how your mindset changes the moment you start hiring people. So you start putting measures in place to take care of that. And every company does it differently. I know some companies do like a cancellation fee, and the cancellation fee is usually so ridiculously high that it's like you're pretty much paying the contract. And that's the option we pretty much give people. Is it's like, look, you have 6 months left, 4 months left, whatever the case may be on your contract. If you want, you can just pay it off and be done. Or you can continue paying monthly. We'll keep coming out. And same thing with the paying it off. Obviously, you pay it off, we'll still come out and do your last couple services. Like, we're gonna uphold our end of the agreement. Um, and then we'll make sure to cancel it out so you're not charged anymore after that first year. But it's not a subscription. Like, we explained that very thoroughly. But to your point on paying at time of service, I used to really be against it. I'm not as against it as I used to be. There's a lot less payment chasing, a lot less payment chasing, I should add, with people that pay per service or pay per year. I love pay per year. I'm starting to become more of a proponent of pay. I pitch pay per year before I even bring up monthly. Which, by the way, that's a little hack for you guys. Shouldn't even be. I mean, most of y'all should probably be able to get this anyways, and it makes sense once you hear it. Say you're going to charge someone $99 and then $40 a month going forward. So the first year, 11 months times 40 is 440 plus another 100, $540, right? You tell them going into that, hey, right now, if you pay for the year up front, it's only going to cost you 489. Normally, it's going to cost you $99 to get started and then $40 a month. So you're saving about 50 to $100 if you decide to go ahead and pay for the year up front. Would you like to go ahead and get started on that, or would the monthly plan probably still be best for you? And then, there's or better yet, which I've done this a lot more lately too, just listening to all these different sales trainings and stuff. You still lead with that pitch, but before you mention the monthly option, like, you don't even mention the monthly option. You just straight up go for it with your yearly payment. Right now it's only 489, I think is what we just said a second ago. 489 plus tax for the year. Do you want to go ahead and get started on that? I know we can be there tomorrow, today, whenever. Pause. If there's a pause longer than about 2 seconds, hop back in and say, or by the way, you can pay just $99 or whatever your initial promo, whatever the case may be, $99 plus tax up front, and then your $40 a month going forward. That's kind of our last resort option. Some people prefer that for monthly billing, but most people prefer to have the savings paying for the year up front. Um, and then usually, if you have to go with that, they end up going with the monthly. Usually, if there's no pause and they just go right after, either A, a straight price objecting, and it's a whole other, we get into a whole other sales video with that. Or B, they're just going right for that yearly. Yeah, how quick can you be out here? Cool. Those are the customers we want. Thank you for your thoughts. Yes, sir. Is Gorilla Desk good for a company that wants to scale and become huge? That's the only negative thing I've heard about Gorilla. I've had a demo with Gorilla Desk, and they are awesome. But I want to be guessing you're going to say big or huge um, at the end of that. But yeah, no, same here. And if I remember right, their default setting is you can go up to something like 75, I believe, somewhere around 75 technicians, crazy number of admins. Like you're talking growing roughly 1 to 150, maybe even more man operation before you even start potentially running into issues. And don't quote me on this. I'm not Chris. But I believe there might be an enterprise option. If not, might be something I'm going to talk to him about actually, because out of everything that anyone's ever brought up, that's the one thing that even because you guys know, like I have huge aspirations for my company, of course. Um, and that is one thing actually that if I were to kind of critique, so to speak, it would be if it is really true that that's capped off at say I forget if it's 75 or 100 technician. And you got like I said too, you have to keep in mind that is technician seats. That's not including your admins, your sales representatives. Let's see, I'm going into my account on the back end here just to see. Okay, so yeah, in terms of technicians, yeah, you can add up to 75. Let's see. And yeah, on the growth plan, I was right. It is. Oh no, it is only $50 for the growth plan to add another schedule. But like I said, that is for technician seats. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick. That's another thing. Gorilla Desk has a AI agent that is available, which I know most people do anymore. Which is available 24/7 for questions, just like this, as a matter of fact. So let's go into help, chat with support, AI. My camera's kind of in the way. Let me minimize my screen here. Here we go. Ask anything. How many total employees can I enroll on Gorilla Desk? And it's answering right now. So let me see. Let's see. I'm in New York, and if a client cancels early, I charge them $100. Other companies charge them the remaining balance. Yeah, exactly, and that's what we do. We charge the remaining balance for now on. You're being pretty generous with $100. Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, does Charter, Spectrum, Dish, electric companies, if you live in an area like me where you do yearly contracts with your electric company, do any of these, your cell phone company, do they allow you just to leave early without any payment, any consequences? No. Most of the time, it's like your whole bill's due in 30 days. So, yeah, I mean, and yeah, at least you're charging something. I mean, me, when I first started my business as one man show, it was literally that was one of the things I beat my chest on. Oh, we don't do contracts. It's subscription billing. Da, da," and then I realized real quickly, oh, people take advantage of that. Let's see. I like the idea of yearly payment, but also like money coming in. Yeah, no, 100%. What we do is, what we did, I should say, is early on, we tried which I have found out now after years of doing this that you don't even really have to like try. It kind of works itself out, anyways. But you'll find that literally it's almost a 50-50 split. Half of them will want to pay yearly, half of them will want to pay monthly. Some months might be a little more than the other. Overall, it works out to about 50-50, maybe 60-40 monthly. But overall, like once you do it for a full year, you'll see like, oh man, like this month is gonna be nice. I got like 10 yearlies, and then like talking as the one man up and coming. And like now we're to a point where we're like, shit, well, we want the yearly. Like, let's sell every single one yearly, like because then we don't got to worry about chasing money for at least a year and all this other stuff. But no, I had the same mindset as well. And sometimes I still do. Like I said, I like my monthly cash flow. Like cash flow is the number one thing. You want to stay in business, have cash flow. But don't overthink it either. Again, just speaking from my experience, don't overthink it. Just go into it trying to get the sell. Think about what the customer needs, not what you need, and it'll all take care of itself. Let me see what this Gorilla Dust thing said real quick. All our plans come with unlimited users. Okay, so that doesn't really answer my question. So in terms of office staff and everything, okay, but what about technicians? I see your site says only 75 schedules. Okay, so all that's answering. Let's see. I was not planning on being on this long, but y'all are being awesome tonight. That's a good little chat we got going. Let's see. We are piloting Dormamba right now. Same here. I saw there was a new update. I haven't looked since the update yet. Huge things coming with this door-to-door integration. Absolutely, man. That in all honesty was one of the key things. I told my VP, my number two, my tech, whatever you want to refer to him as, that I want to see how Dormamba is. And it has been way better than I expected. Like we've already uploaded a ton of resources in there for our guys and all that stuff. Like way better than I expected. Huge. Yeah. Let's see. Newer people are very different, unfortunately. Oh, I've had a few transplants move down to Texas. I know exactly what you mean. Let's see. With the yearly, do you auto renew? Yeah. So as a matter of fact, I'll even do a video for you guys about this because I don't think Gorilla Disc did as great of a job early on. And again, they've been coming out with so many features that I know they're trying to shoot out their videos like rapid fire, just keeping up in terms of training videos. But way back, they came out with a feature where you can send automated email, text message, all those different notifications after a job's completed. So, like, what we do is we have a service plan set up for like quarterly customers, monthly customers, anything that's under that like yearly contract, right? Even commercial. And we have an email template that will send was it 325 days, if I remember right, 325 days after their initial service is completed, it will send them an automated email just letting them know, hey, just wanted to let you know that your 1 year is coming up with us. We hope it's been great, yada, yada, yada. If you need to make any changes, we don't say cancel. We don't want to encourage it, right? But if you need to make any changes to your billing or anything before your yearly renewal, please let us know by the 30-day mark. Otherwise, we'll continue like usual year over year. So, super easy, of course, with the customers that pay yearly because pretty much all of them have some form of payment on file. It goes through automatically. Boom, we're good to go. Occasionally, some of them want it invoiced, and those ones pay it usually within like 2 hours, 24 hours at the most. If it's around the holiday season, you got to remind them once or twice. But yeah, we actually just this past couple months set that up as a matter of fact because I got tired of having to do it myself because I was like, we got too many yearly customers now for me to keep up with whose bills what, and we don't want to get a bad review or anything too, obviously for them like not knowing, even though it's like you have a copy of your service agreement, but you want to make it as easy as my number two refers to it as. We want to CYA as much as possible. Cover your ass. We got the receipts, right? We got the proof that Look, hey, we sent this email 45 days, 40, 30, 45 days before your renewal period, and you didn't get back to us about that. That's on them at that point. Whereas if, you haven't mentioned it in a year since they first signed up, you can see where people are going to get mad about that, right? I mean, we've all been hit over the head with those yearly subscriptions we forget about, right? Doesn't feel too good. So, all about the whole, treat your customers how you want to be treated as a customer as well. Um, let's see what Gorilla Desk said here. Let's see. All our Gorilla Desk plans, Basic, Pro, and Growth, include unlimited users, which we already know. Pricing changes based on technician schedule. A schedule refers to a technician's schedule within Gorilla Desk. To determine how many schedules you need, consider whether your technicians typically work solo or as part of a crew. If a technician travels to perform most of the jobs on their own, yeah, that. The cost of each plan varies, and adding schedules to the basic and pro plans, yeah, all those are 50. It didn't really give me a hard set number. So can I add a unlimited amount of solo technicians to my plan? Like 1,000, for example. It's like being around the bush on this answer. I don't like that. Let's see. Boom. Love that. Yes, sir. Let's see. So you just heard it from the Gorilla Desk bot. I will copy and paste in the comments exactly what it said for you guys. Paste that in there. And then I will even put that comment. That should be away. Oh man, I had to split it into two messages. Oh, that sucks. Well, it says right here, no, there's no limit to the number of solo technicians you can add in any Grill Desk user plan. All plans include unlimited users, and you can add as many technicians, admins, managers, sales users, and crew users as you need. That is straight from their own AI help agent that they have inside of the 24/7 support thing that you can talk. And of course, they have humans you can talk to as well. Was it during normal business hours or whatever? But yeah, I guess I can pull that up for you guys. I hate that it had to cut off the end of the damn comment, literally by like 3 words. Come on. But yeah, so there answers that question. If who was it? If Johnny is still in here, that answers that question. Man, we didn't even really get any time tonight to hit on Google Ads or anything like that. But I guess I will mention, like I said, if you're not already subscribed to our Daily Gram, which again, I'm not spamming you guys, anything like that whatsoever. I literally just send you guys things that should help you, ideally, like short little 30-second reads. One thing I'm going to be doing on the website, griffinbthomas.com, is releasing two different series actually. One is a Google Ads series, which is also going to be here on YouTube. As a matter of fact, there's going to be the YouTube tutorials of like how I set up my Google ad campaigns and stuff like that. But then on top of that, there's going to be pretty much a blog version. If you're somebody that works better with words or something like that, there'll be a blog version you can follow as well, which is pretty much the video turned into a blog. For those of you that know about Notebook LM, you can probably figure out how I do that. But we'll have that over there for you, and you will get notified when the two of those go up in that Daily Gram as well. And then the other one is actually going to be breaking down the interview that I had with Chris's brother, Chad, last year. That was like a 2 hour stream. And I noticed in my analytics, most people only watch something like half an hour or so of it, which I mean is actually pretty good. Like that half an hour is a long time to be watching one video, but um, there was a lot of good information in there, specifically like tutorial based about getting the most out of Gorilla Desk. So I really wanted to kind of just, and they're not, of course, not paying me for any of that. I just know I get a lot of questions about Gorilla Desk, so we're doing a little series for that as well. But that is specifically going to be on griffinbthomas.com because, of course, we already have the um, podcast episode on the YouTube channel from last year. But that'll be as well. So if you're not already subscribed, there should be a link down in the description box. I believe it should be the only link in the description box, griffinbthomas.com. Let's see. Adam, or wait, is your name Adam? Let's say add music moss. Nice to be here with you. Question: did you custom your proposal with Gorilla Desk, and how, if you did? Custom your proposal. Do you mean like my terms with them in terms of like our billing and stuff? If so, no. I didn't do anything of that nature with them. Back when I started, it was what, 2020, 2021. I think technically 21 was when I was officially with Gorilla Desk. It was like my second month roughly in business, or third at the latest. Um, and I just hopped on the pro plan. It was like $49, $50 a month. I believe it's still that price right now. That was before they even had the growth plan available. I know they just came out with the growth plan, what, about 2, maybe 3 years ago, roughly now, shortly after they came out with the newest version of Grill Desk Desktop and all that. But yeah, no, we didn't. And again, I might be misunderstanding the question, but assuming I did not, no, we didn't customize any of that. But appreciate the question. But yeah, no, like I said, hopefully you guys did enjoy the stream. If you're just tuning in, we went over a lot tonight, hence why we're live for 90 minutes. So if you guys did get any value out of this, do me a favor. Like I said, it's the only thing I can ever ask of you is just smash that thumbs up button. If you know anybody whatsoever that could benefit from any of the content on this channel, just share it with them. Just hit that share button, send it to them. You can copy the link, send it through text, send it to Facebook, whatever the case may be. And then, like I said, if you don't want to miss out on any of the series or anything that we're doing, which of course are all totally free, be sure to hit the link in the description box at griffinbthomas.com. All you got to do is submit your email. I think maybe your first name too. I think there's like 2 required. I try to put as few required fields in there as they would possibly let me. Just because all I really need to be able to send you guys is your email at the end of the day, just to prove I'm not trying to like market to you. But yeah, feel free to drop that in there. We're getting a lot more consistent now with pumping those out pretty much about once a day on average for you guys. Sometimes a little less if life gets hectic, but um, yeah, other than that, looks like we're all wrapped up on questions. So I'm going to go and spend some time with the loved ones. I appreciate all of y'all again for tuning in. We will have another stream, of course. Oh, that's another reason to subscribe to the email list. You will be the first ones to be notified whenever we're going to go live. Because, of course, sometimes I go live randomly, just depends on the schedule. We go live at least once or twice a month. But long term, I will be taking some of the live streams off YouTube in terms of we will do privately held. That way we can avoid the random freaking comments that will occasionally come in through the YouTube vertical stream feed or whatever. Just people who are serious about growing their business. And again, that'll be free too. Of course, it's not going off so I can charge or anything like webinar or anything. Just to allow people who are more serious to get in there. But just another reason to hop in there. But I appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Keep crushing 2026. And I will see you in the, I believe, next one. Yes. See you on the next one.